Alright guys, welcome to the channel. This is the first video of this channel. Honestly, the reason I'm starting is because of a dare from a friend, so why not? Let's get this started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about on this channel is something I really enjoy that I do weekly is, that One Piece. So what we're going to do, the latest chapter is chapter 980 called Fighting Music. This chapter was pretty dope. I liked it. There were some points that I kind of was like, about that I didn't really like, but we'll tackle those when we get to the point. The cover story is still going on with Beach like family, oh my family, and it volume 27 now. So this has been going on for a while. I don't know what Oda is gonna lead it to, where it's gonna what's the big point, the big reveal at the end, because we've been following this story for seemingly 27 weeks now. So hopefully there's a big payout. And we have Lola here that's proposing to Gotti. We all know Lola is thirsty, so that's to be expected. Maybe it's because he saved her or just because he's available. Hopefully that leads to something. And Gotti does say, yeah, because he's looking like, me? Like, for real? Like, he's shocked. So maybe that'll lead to something if they get married. I don't know what that'll lead to. Maybe the big reveal I'm thinking Oda's gonna pay out for. Can't imagine what it is, though. Lola really reminds me of Baby 5, though, because if you guys remember, Baby 5 was the same way with marriage, too. Just because she wanted to feel needed. Okay. But moving on, getting into the chapter, we have where we left off last chapter is the guys basically talking about the guys on the banquet hall talking about how the Oshiriko is trash. So they this is trash, and Luffy's remember what's that little girl's name? The little girl from the beginning of the of the of this arc, and he's remembering it, and he's saying basically he's getting upset about it, how they just throwing away the food, where we know that everybody in this country other than the people that live in the capital are struggling or starving and stuff like that, and these people are just throwing food away and starving. And Luffy's answer to this, which is funny, is a goddamn elephant gun. What the fuck, Luffy? It's a stealth mission, 1. And 2, these are fodder. Drunken fodder. And you threw an elephant gun, so of course, but that's to be expected with Luffy. He just gonna fuck the plan. He's gonna do him and keep it moving. Which is cool. I guess I could respect that. But the problem with that is it draws attention to him. And now Queen's looking like, yo, what's going on down there? And we'll see what goes on from there. After that, we get the reaction from Kid's crew, and Kid yo, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? It's a stealth mission. What the fuck is he doing? But then he's like, you know what? Fuck him. Let him do what he's doing, and we're just moving on. They'll just let him get the heat on him, and then we can move on to doing what we gotta do. And it's a funny panel where he just turned around walking away, and then you see behind him a building being cut in half. And long behold, who do you think it is? Zoro. Zoro's just chilling up there yo, Luffy, what the fuck are you doing? You're starting the disturbance and stuff. And it's dude, what are you talking about? You just cut down a whole goddamn building. What you mean? What am I doing? But so that was a whole funny scene, and I really like that little comedy, that subtle comedy. And so now they're talking, and he's reprimanding Luffy for yo, what the fuck? And Luffy's yo, you weren't here, man. They're throwing Oshiriko away. And what did you expect me to do? They started this fight. And then Zoro was like, oh shit, oh, we got beef now. So he gets on the same page as Luffy. I guess that's why they're that's his captain, and they really get each other, so they understand. And Zoro, without Luffy saying why he did it, all he said they're in Oshiriko, all right. And Zoro was just kind of Got you. I know why you mad. I'll be mad too. But honestly, like during that scene, I'd prefer honestly if it was Sanji, which I'll get to like after this. I'll after breaking down the chapter, I'll give analysis at the end. Honestly, this is off the cuff. I don't know exactly how this format's gonna be moving forward, but I do think I want to review the chapters weekly. So we'll see how the format changes throughout the week. So of course, after a building gets cut in half and like big old elephant gun is exploded, even though the people in the banquet hall are drunk there, so they still kind of like, yo, what's going on? And nobody really realized what's going on. And then we see Scratch Man. I think this is the first time we're seeing Scratch Man, Apu, since the since we've gone into this arc. So we never really seen him. Um, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Scratch Man, and maybe that's just because he hasn't done anything, so maybe he hasn't really. Maybe that's what it is. I've never been a fan of his design either. Like I think he's probably out of all the supernovas, he's probably the least aesthetically pleasing character to look at as like a somebody notable. But later on, we'll find out. Hey, he might be some nice. He might be nice, but we'll see. So Scratch Man looks over and he's like, "Oh shit, that's Straw Hat." And of course, he knows Straw Hat because at this point, who doesn't know about Straw Hat? People were hyping him up to be like the fifth emperor. And plus, they're in the same class, and they met each other once before, I believe. I think they met in Sabaody whatever you call that fucking place. I think they met once there. I don't know if they interacted, but they were on the island at the same time. So I'm not sure if they interacted, but for sure, Apu would know of Luffy at the very least. So he spots Luffy, and then he tells Queen like, "Yo, Luffy out here." Um, and then Queen, of course, is upset about the situation. He's like, "Yo, what you mean, Luffy? Luffy's supposed to be at Udon prison, and how the hell did he get out?" And then Queen's starting to remember like, "Oh, um, that dude lied to me. The dude at the prison, the basically the warden. I know Queen is the warden, but the sheriff, the main guy at the prison, lied to her. So she's like, okay, what? Why am I saying she? It's just because I'm saying Queen, but I'm pretty sure Queen is a guy. But he's thinking like, what the hell is going on? But okay, moving on, whatever. And he basically, I'm gonna keep saying she for Queen. So Queen says, okay, let's put out a bounty on Luffy's head. Which reminds me of fucking when we were at Dressrosa when what's her name? What's his name? Dofi put out on a put out a bounty on for everybody, but this one is just for Luffy. And basically his like bribery to the people there is like, hey, if whoever catches Luffy, you will get a spot of the Flying Six. Because if you remember last chapter, um, Kaido, Kaido told the guys to basically go find his son, and whoever finds his son out of the Flying Six could challenge one of the calamities. And I'm guessing based on what's saying, like, was because when we first met all six of the members of the Flying Six, they seem to some of them have a beef with at least two of them have a beef with Queen. And Queen now is saying like, hey, whoever catches Luffy's gonna get a spot. So Queen is knowing that he's gonna fight one of the Flying Six, and he's very confident that he's gonna win this fight. Which is weird because you would think that the calamities will be way above the Flying Six, but it seems like they're comparable in power. If the calamities are stronger, they're not that much stronger than the Flying Six. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. The cool thing here is that a lot of the people are like, it's not even worth it, man. I'm just gonna keep drinking because it's Luffy one it all to begin with. Like, what chance do we really have against Luffy? Which is a good point. Hey, a lot of them like, yo, why am I gonna get an ass whooping For what? Like, I could just be drinking here and just be keep it low key. And that's the guy I would be if I was in the hall. Like, that's what I never understood in a lot of, like, movies with henchmen and stuff like that. And I'm like, why y'all dying? Like, when Batman drops down, like, am I really gonna be the dude that killed Batman tonight? I'm just gonna get my fucking arm broken. Like, for what? No, I'm just gonna sit back. No, Batman walks in, I'm like, I'm done. Tapping out. Luffy walks in, hey, this ain't my fight. I'm not at that level. I know my level. I know my skills, and I'm not that skill. So I appreciate the guys that are like, yeah, we good today. But who do we see walk up to the plate? Scratch Man. Check her out. And my boy Scratch Man, not even my boy. I'm trying to be a fucking, how you call it, bandwagon right now, because I just was saying I didn't fuck with Scratch Man. But no, my boy Scratch Man pops up, and all we see is Luffy get socked. He starts playing with his teeth, because his teeth are like basic keyboards. Playing the symbol on his mouth is like a cymbal. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Beating his chest like a drum and all that. So he's just playing, like, because his body is like basically musical instrument. And Luffy is fighting the little henchmen that think they could take Luffy. I don't know why, but they think they can. And next thing you know, Luffy feels an explosion like on his neck and stuff like that, and he falls down. He's like, "Yo, what the fuck? Who punched me?" And nobody contact with him. It was I'm guessing vibrations, since that's how Scratchman ability works. It's music based. So I don't know what's going on. Um and we have next thing we have is Zoro gets slashed, literally the same placement where his scar is from Mihawk. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on here with Scratchman Apu. But hey, so Zoro gets, like, dropped on his knees. He's not out cold yet. And then next thing you know, Scratchman pumps his chest a little bit more, and you have kaboom. Basically, Luffy explodes, and Luffy is knocked the fuck out, like wide eyed, like, which is very very weird to me. That's a two-hit combo from Scratchman. Um, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'll talk about it some more at the end of the video. But I don't know how I feel about Luffy getting KO'd by Scratchman, even if it was off guard. Like, it's we don't see Luffy getting KO'd very often in this series. And basically, like, reminds me of when his brother died and Akainu was after him, and basically, who was running with him? Somebody was carrying him and running with him. I don't remember. I think it was um Jinbei, but I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly who was running with him. And basically how he's knocked out and his eyes are all, like, cleared out and stuff like that. That's how he looks, which is bad. The only other time I could remember that happened recently was Kaido, when Kaido one-shotted Luffy. So that's like, what the, yo, this is crazy. And I don't think it's the same exact thing or as prone as when Kaido did it. Um, and Luffy bounces back pretty quickly. He regains consciousness, so, which is good. At least he's not, like, out of commission for a long period of time. And then we hear Scratchman hit the classic check her out. That's probably my favorite thing about Scratchman. And so basically we see Kid jump in. And he has beef with Scratchman because of what he basically betrayed them, and he was working with Kaido the whole time. And we see a new attack by Kid, which is Gibson, Punk Gibson, which honestly it's kind of lackluster. It's just Kid's attack are not that impressive to me so far, because all of it is just metal pieces creating arm and hitting people. I'm not a big fan of, like, giant mechs and stuff like that, so I know a lot of people might like that kind of stuff, but I personally just like, oh, okay, cool. but I couldn't care. And Scratchman seems to be squashed, but obviously he's not dead. He's fine because there's no way he would be out of commission after one attack. Even though Luffy just got one shot, so who knows? All right, so this part I think I'm gonna talk about the chapter in general. How I feel about it. Uh, the cover story. To be honest, I'm ready for that to be over with. It's not leading to anything. I don't see the end goal. I'd rather other stuff to occupy that time, but we'll see. The whole Luffy attacking those people, like to me, I feel like Luffy, come on. Even if you were angry, these are drunken fodder. King's Conqueror would have taken them out, but I guess he wanted to really hurt them. So do what you got to do, and it's like I guess that's who Luffy is. But I would say dude, you didn't have to go all out. You know it's a stealth mission. Like, is it really worth it? But moving on from that, so I don't really have a problem with that too much. It just seems a little overkill, and I do like the relationship between Zoro and Luffy in this chapter. That they were able to be on the same page. They understand each other. They're nakama at the end of time. At the end of the day, they kind of have the same sentiment. Even though Luffy went off script, Zoro's like, yo, I get it. I would have done the same thing too. But I would have preferred, since it's food, anytime it's food related, you can't help to think about Sanji. Because Sanji, that's his main thing. That's his big thing. It's food. Just food in general. So I don't know why Oda didn't choose to have, Sanji in this confrontation instead of Luffy, but I guess Luffy is the one that first interacted with what's that girl's name? Toki? No, that's not Toki. Toki is not the name. I forgot the little Tama. I think it's Tama. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it in post. You'll see the correct name. But I'm not sure why he's there, but it's fine. It doesn't really take anything away. But I would just had preferred Sanji to be the one that had the relations with that. And so with Scratchman noticing it, I don't know how I feel about Luffy getting killed by Scratchman. Um, okay, fair. We don't know his ability yet. We don't really understand how it works. We just know it's not contact based. So he doesn't have to touch anybody. And since it's music, I'm guessing it's some kind of it has to do with sound waves or illusion based. I don't know if any of you guys have read Bleach, but what I was thinking when I thought about it was I was thinking about what's his name? The one of the captains, his bunkai was music based, and basically he plays music and it creates illusions, and the illusions feel real. So if he plays a song and it creates the imagery of you boiling in fire, your body is literally boiling on fire. But there's one way to counter that is basically not to hear it. If you don't hear the music, then it doesn't really affect you. I think he was fighting a character called Mask, and all he had to do was blow out his eardrums to counter that. I don't know. I don't see that being the case with Luffy if that was the same power, basically illusions through music if you could hear it. So I don't know how they're gonna counter that. And also one thing that didn't happen is just because, and that's what happens when our author introduces time manipulation type powers into their series, is that we know Luffy has future sight. So it's why didn't Luffy see that? Because could he have not dodged it? But it doesn't seem that way. It doesn't seem like he was unable to dodge it. It seems like he didn't see it at all. Because when he first got punched, he was like, yo, who punched me? How did I get punched? And I don't think that's indicative of oh, I couldn't dodge it. It just shows that I didn't even know it was coming. But at the same time, we do know for future sight, you have to be calm, you have to be relaxed, and he had just he was fighting he was fighting these people, the henchmen at the time. Well, I don't know if I want to give him benefit that he was in calm there, because when he was fighting Katakuri, I mean Katakuri is fighting him and he was using future sight. So I don't want to say that just because you are fighting that you cannot use future sight, because we've seen people fight and use future sight. So maybe Luffy's just not that great at it yet. And we've seen him fight with using like future sight observation when he was in the Udon prison, and he was basically fighting and telling old man, Hyo, to move, dodge, do this. So I don't know why he didn't see it. I don't know if it's Oda to just kind of like, because a lot of times like with anime and manga or anything like that, a lot of times like you see something once and it's cool, but it's just such an easy ticket out of a lot of things that authors just play ignorance and just don't use it. But you as a reader, you're like, oh, couldn't you just do this and then just win? Like one of the biggest thing is Rasen Shuriken in Naruto for me. I was like, oh, so it kills things at the cellular level. It was used one time, I think, effectively, and never used again. But that's one of the things. So we don't know if like his attacks cannot be perceived by Future Sight, or is it just Oda just kind of like, don't worry about it. Don't think too much into it. Which, okay, I guess. But when Luffy gets knocked out, I'm just like, wow. Scratchman just knocked out Luffy. None of the other supernovas that he's engaged with, I could think that could be. None of the supernovas I think could beat Luffy out of the ones that we've seen could fight or do anything. The closest one is Kid in power. I think, and Kid would be like I think it would be a draw at the very most, or Luffy's winning that. But Scratchman, it's like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him locking out Luffy, but we'll see next chapter what happens. Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. I guess if we get a good explanation on how his powers work, maybe it's just kind of like one of those hack abilities. And you just got to find a way around it. Doesn't mean he's stronger than Luffy. It just means he got a weird ability that just caught them off guard. Um, and what else do we have in the chapters? Basically, we get a named attack by Kid, and attacks Scratchman, and I don't think it's cool. It's just like what he did last time. Punk Rotten was the last name attack we got with him, which was basically a punch. This one is Punk Gibson. It's like palming somebody against a wall. It's not much different. It's not that cool to me. It's just, I don't know. It's whatever. We just need to see what's going on next chapter. I don't think Scratchman is killed. Obviously, it wouldn't really make sense that one shotted that easy. I mean, he did one shot Luffy, but I don't think it's like going to be end of the line for Scratchman after one attack. But we'll see. All right, I think that's why I'm. Let's see. Should I do ratings on here? Let me give it a rating out of 10. I think I'll give this chapter I give this chapter like a 7. 7 out of 10. It wasn't super great, but it was far from bad. So we're gonna give it a 7 out of 10 for today. Thanks for tuning in. I think I'll be doing another review of the next chapter, and probably I'll figure out a good format or a better format to do it in. I don't know if I'm going to break down the chapter page by page and then give analysis, or just give an analysis of the chapter, because I would assume if you're coming to like a review, it's because you've read the chapter already. So I'll see. All right, thanks for checking in. Peace.